which was an elective course. And I was so glad that I took that course because it was probably one of the better courses that I took when I was in college in terms of my interest and feeling rewarded for the work that I was putting into it. And from that point forward, I began to write poetry quite frequently, keeping journals and whatnot. And over the years, I managed, well, my only national poem, unlike Poe's The Raven, was a couple of poems that were in the Poets' Corner of the Christian Science Monitor. So that was my first national publication.
And I know you've been published in the Song of San Joaquin also.
I'm sorry?
I said, I know you've been published in Song of San Joaquin also.
Oh, yes, And can you speak so I can test my headphones?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, that works really good. Yeah,
Okay, good.
I'm gonna turn it down a little bit, actually.
Okay. So if anybody after we have, Doreen will be going after Dan. And if anybody would like to read some of their poems afterwards, just send me a text and I'll put you on the list here.
So anyhow, I've been published in a lot of places, but no books have been published. I hope that will change someday. But for right now, I'm just enjoying what I always enjoy doing, and that's experiencing and writing poetry. It's so much fun, and it works so well sometimes. You don't even have to think about it at times. You just, you start writing and it just kind of automatically writes itself. I love it when that happens. And of course, I feel that the most powerful, the most beautiful poetry is always muse inspired. And when you come across that, you get that thrill of electricity up your spine when you read it. You know that that's what's going on with you while you're reading that. I've been nominated for a pushcart prize. There was a contest before Maven, the Mars explorer, went up for haiku about the Earth and the people on the Earth, and how we're all related, all the planets are related. And so I entered a haiku in that contest, and they had 300 haiku that were really popular with the people who called in and wrote in. And so 300 haiku, including mine, were engraved on one of the struts of Maven. That's a Mars atmospheric explorer, and it's going to orbit Mars literally forever. And I'm hoping someday maybe an alien will find it and start translating our haiku from Earth. But poetry has been very meaningful to me. My mother was a poet. I kind of learned at her knee as well. And I've always enjoyed the art form and have always appreciated the art form. And it's amazing to me where we go as poets when we do a reading, both into the microcosm and into the macrocosm. It's just, when you think back on all the places that a poet will take you, it's really quite amazing, actually.
Okay, what would you like to read for us first?
Are you going to put them on the screen, Rick?
I don't have them.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to take a little tour through the solar system. It's amazing, in the last 5 years, all the information that has come about because of all the technology that's going on. Of course, the latest has been Perseverance on the planet Mars. And all this stuff seems really great. When they first sent I think it was Curiosity to Mars, that explorer, Just about a week before it landed, I wrote a poem called John Muir Climbs Mount Aeolus, which is also called Mount Sharp. And I got to thinking in the poem, what's John Muir going to write about? Then there's that little blue bubble, that delicate little blue bubble up in the sky. And I ended up writing about John Muir's perception of that. But it's kind of fun to take all of this information that we've got from Voyagers 1 and 2 and from the Space Telescope and the Explorer on Saturn, which ended off by plunging into the heart of Saturn itself, to look at this stuff as the possibility for writing poetry. And I've brought 5 poems with me today, which I would like to share with you. And we will be taking just a real fast visit through the solar system. The first one I'd like to share with you is called Deer Hunt on Uranus. Uranus, of course, is the one that's just before Pluto, and it's pretty far out there. And this information I got from the explorer that went past and sent the information back to Earth. Deer Hunt on Uranus. Just think, Bubba, a season of 15 harvest moons shining on a 22-year autumn. No leaves, no tags, no lottery, no beers from the bait shop, but no wardens either. So go ahead, Billy Bob, this year hunt Uranus. Check it out if Jack Daniels still gives a glow at 70 degrees above absolute zero. Run Old Blue through monoxide mists up methane scarps, 30 kilometers high. See if powder ignites in the 30-06, now useless as a stick welded to your hands. Test your seawater veins frozen into iron much harder than oak in weak sunlight, 18 years old. So go ahead, Leroy. This year, you good old boys hunt Uranus. But once you've left the comfy fireside of this all-forgiving Earth, you'll find your own ass in the great crosshairs behind the stars, Zeke. Like looking in a mirror, you'll learn finally what real prey looks like. I'm sure that you all must have seen Halley's Comet last time it came by. That was in May of 1978. And I had built myself a little bench out of native stone out in my garden, from which I could then watch and see it. And Halley's Comet, of course, was famous because it came in one year when Mark Twain was born, and it went out the same year that he passed away. This is called Halley's Comet. Wide tail spray of comets glow in wet cambium of ancient trees, passing over all this clotted life, gnarled, overgrown, stickish, tenacious as any bristlecone pine. Do comets still fizzle out there where human eyes can't see them? Someday, in supreme silence, we must all of us scratch like match heads against dark domes of our own far horizons. To us, you show your life only once in 76 years. In 2054, once again, a fuzzy light in Leo, a tiny quark upon which our universe swings. Matter's primal mind might necessarily meditate this simple koan. Do comets live in nature, or are they taper lights of imagination? Do comets continue plunging around dead planets where no eyes remain to watch? Of course, the heavens, night sky, space, throughout mankind's history, the Maya, the Aztec, the Egyptians, the Romans, the Greek, they all saw that as the home of the gods that watched over them and also created havoc upon the planet as well. Today, of course, we've got this high-tech eyes and ears going for us so that we can see what's actually out there. Perseverance has a microphone, so you can actually hear wind blowing on the planet Mars. I thought that was pretty exciting to hear that. But it started many, many years before these mighty civilizations. It started with the primitive people who did cave paintings. This poem is called Archaeoastronomy. A millennium ago, on a lucid dark night in a dry wash ravine, a hominid drew a petroglyph, a huge star with crescent moon. It created a snapshot on stone of a supernova giving birth to that neutron cloud of glory we call Crab Nebula, flamed eternity expanding. Its art was signed with a handprint. Last week, on a flattened and scraped hilltop, this hominid watched as chartreuse rockets of yerba Santa reached for the sun. From a 4-inch slab of asphaltic concrete, they'd pierced and cracked to reclaim the sky above and the earth beneath for their roots. Two cosmic events. The nature of humanity is to record. The soul of nature is to change. No visual image this, merely a voice from the heart, keeping my hands to myself, and with a nod to my ancient mentor, I sign this work with my pulse. Every fall, people are tempted to go to Massachusetts and Maine to see the fall colors. They're called colors adventure, attending a colors adventure. Pluto has a moon that's half its size. Its largest moon, Charon, is half its size. And the two bodies rotate around each other, almost like two planets rotating each other. But Charon is, for all we can see, very much like Pluto, a great ball of ice, probably carbon monoxide. I imagined a tour that a person could take, the Colors of Charon adventure. And this is the Colors of Charon adventure. Now that we've awakened from hypersleep, I can tell you all, it was just a flap of our techno wings. Ground control assures us that it is about 6 years later, and here we are at Charon, the largest moon of Pluto. A giant ball of snow, if you will, pockmarked with ammonia ice capping toxic seas. First, we drop down into the deeply shadowed canyon of Serenity Chasma. Heading north, we float briefly above Dorothy Gale Crater, then the dark polar hood of Mordor Macula. Then heading south, we skim over the gunmetal terrain of Oz Terra before ending above the platinum equatorial plain of Vulcan Planum and quicksilver mountains of Clark Montes, now festively cloaked in iron-hard nitrogen ice. Our Colors of Charon adventure ends about 6 years further along. After we've awakened from hypersleep, ground control requests that we all please remain seated until the green light. And be sure to pick up all personal items around your seat. Last flight, someone left a golden azalea, a scarlet tulip, and a flaming maple tree. And then finally, again, thinking about John Muir climbing Mount Sharp on Mars and having not a whole lot of things to say unless he dwells upon that little blue bubble that we call Earth. We're very, very fortunate that we have this planet and all that this planet feeds us, especially if you're a poet. This poem is called The Lost Language of Mars. Say you're in a cavernous room of rainbows with the perfume of every kind of flower, swans swimming in a blue grotto. You step up to an enormous black door, peer through a keyhole to see gray wheels in dim light, spinning slowly, their cogs meshing in perfect unison. Once the words come to you, how long before they dwindle, leaving you alone in a fragrant room with swans and the knowledge that you've said everything that can be said regarding the room, the door, and what lies behind it. Literate beings, we speak of literal and imaginary worlds, using words rooted in the natural codices of our planet. Few of our symbols of meaning can be transposed to an arid place like Mars. All those green-blue phonemes that spark inside our language of forests, meadows, and rivers. Even the steel and neon pentameters of our cities, you can just toss them all away. Human brains and tongues on Mars fade into a monotony of primal monotones. 300 billion miles from Earth, we stutter about scarps, craters, mountains, ravines, and domes. There you have it, sand and eclipse, gas and spicules. What else can one say? We have left behind entire species and families of words. The lexicons of Whitman and Muir, or even of Bradbury, are shushed into silence by an environment that gives nothing and has no use. Earthlings write and speak with the full spectrum of complex glories, which is their home. On Mars, there is no purpose for any speech but a kind of Neanderthalic guttural growl or grunt to express pain or surprise. This now, the language of Mars, a dumb planet that dreams the kind of world we now have, a world in need of polyglot tongues to sing it properly and beautifully.
Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
Look around the solar system there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Lovely, Jan.
Yeah. If anybody else would like to provide him with some feedback, you can unmute yourself.
I was just delighted with the vocabulary of many things I'd never heard of before, and the imaginary voyages and the very specific nature of the description of different parts of planets that I was unaware of. So it was very fresh to me.
I agree. I love that. I love this combination of science and poetry. I particularly love the language about Pluto's moon, Charon.
Mm-hmm.
That was so delightful. And it probably is a far from delightful environment.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, next up we have Doreen. Doreen is an emerging poet. She's based in Sacramento, California. Her poems have been published in Bamboo Ridge Press, Brevities, and the California Quarterly, Cold River Press, Hawaii, Pacific Review, Song of San Joaquin, and the Thule Review. She is pursuing retirement and looks forward to spending time pursuing her nonlinear thinking and translating it into words. So go ahead and unmute yourself.
Thank you, Rick.
Doreen.
I'm glad I didn't have to say anything. Okay.
You have to say something now.
All right.
Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm going to start with the first one, and it's called The Return of the Undead. On the first November night, the children emerge, drawn to aromas of sweet tamales, egg-rich bread, turkey mole, and thick hot chocolate. They trail the steps of sugared skulls held tight in small fists, soft footfalls navigating tombstones and crooked crosses. Yellow marigolds nod the following night against the empty breath of adults, seeking to slake their thirst with the burn of mezcal and pulque, their greedy tongues pulling at its essence, eyes cutting to sugar skeletons clutching tequila, and cigarettes in knots of white phalanges, hanging from vendor stalls covered in sugared coffins and tombs. They resettle their spectral presence among family, trapping memories, commingle past with present. Space and time condensing, collapse to irrelevancy, until the ingress to their parallel universe is revealed by the light of an ascending sun.
Such a wonderful.
Second one is called Punch Bowl. Rifles raise, 3 shots, then fade. A bugle plays taps, a folded flag, blue field, a few stars. Hands haltingly receive it. Eyes grow remote, wet, shifts to some other sun. The life that was in the hands of pallbearers who didn't even know him. Tears land soft, echo strangely on hollow ground. A warm wind, a word to the pallbearers. The struggle of vocal cords, a hug of a hand. 30 minutes, covered, a marker on. The power to own moments, that he will be remembered until he isn't. This one is called Ohia lehua, which is a flower tree that grows in Hawaii. On the serrated slopes of the Ko'olau Range, in the blue light of dusk, ohia trees wear mist-feathered halos, dance to a distant chant in a language long forgotten. A woman in red clings to the arms of her lover, breathless, like the smoky voice of dream outside the fiery wrath of Pele's jealousy. Boiling lava rivers flow, imperil the lovers to molten stone, paused by the pity of Hawaiian gods. From a cold surface of jagged, sharp-edged rock, a tangle of scraggly limbs jut out, stretch skyward, lifting the whole weight of bright red tufted flowers. Hawaiians say that separating the red lehua blossom from a branch of the ohia tree brings rain, and stars of long departed ancestors disappear when fallen ohia meets the sky. Explaining Bob Dylan, a man possessed, troubled, restless, always changing. At the end of one road, another one is, where exactly? Can't go back, never look back, be reminiscing. Can't care if there's misunderstandings or not, you know? A man content with his constant, not pigeonholed, be something or someone else. Only himself, dissolved in the song, in the air. Touching this person, that person, feel it? Comes when it wants to come, ends connect. What was the question? To explain, to think. Words retreat, get lost, confuse, contain. The current of music, information for information's sake, stops the flow. You dig? My last one is called Land and Myth. Said the fisherman's son to the old Iceland fisherman at the harbor, tell me a story. Obliging, the old man conjures trolls from craggy ridges of ice-covered rock, candles of broken icicles belonging to an ogress who terrorized children on the days before Christmas. Said the fisherman's son to the old Hawaiian fisherman at the cove, tell me a story. Obliging, the old man conjures dwarf people of the mountains living on wild bananas and cooked foods snatched from unwary campers, a woman who sends her eyes out as bait to catch a load of fish. Said the fisherman's son to the Moroccan fisherman at the headland, tell me a story. The old man spat. No one has time for storytelling anymore. The world spins faster. Stories dwell in TV images we drink with mint tea. His eyes momentarily cast to a stunning blue swallowing the sea. But the water here, time itself, is slowed. A distant muezzin call to prayer, and the old man is released. Said the tourist to the man, the son of a fisherman. They're both pulling from the salt-encrusted shoreline of the Dead Sea. Tell us a story. Obliging, the man conjures giants of fertilizer and chemical companies, extracting minerals by evaporating the water, spawning sinkholes and salt chimneys, using alchemy to turn the lake into pea soup, smelling of sulfur, smelling of desperation. And I'm done.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Doreen. Would anybody else have like to make any comments? I know I'm a huge Bob Dylan fan myself.
I love the various cultures and the various ethnic places that Doreen takes us, and she does it. I was particularly delighted with the poem about the Mexican holiday at All Saints, and at our church we have a woman who's has that background, and so she arranges a table, and it's a very meaningful happening because anyone who wishes may put a picture of someone who's gone on, and I take my husband's every year because it's a neat picture. He's holding a fish and looking delighted and triumphant. And anyway, and then the table contains a lot of the symbols that, you know, some of which you mentioned, Doreen, in your poem. So anyway, just sharing that connection.
Anyone else?
Here I'm talking, I didn't realize I was muted. Yeah, I like the kind of like the trip around the world that you took us on. And I didn't know, you know, all those, you must have done quite a bit of research to do the poem in Hawaii, the Hawaiian poem, and the Day of the Dead poem was more, at least in California, has imagery that many of us are more familiar with. I've never been to Hawaii, so I'm not familiar with the details that you mentioned. And I got a kick out of the Dylan poem because I felt you caught a lot of his complexity, yes, and I just remember, you know, what went on between him and Baez and all that, and his kind of moving on, you know, his don't think twice, it's all right kind of thing. Yeah, it was quite vivid, and I felt it without being didactic, it gave a good image of Dylan. You're muted.
You're
No,
muted,
thank you. I
Doreen.
mean, I think I was motivated to write that after I wrote or I read his biography, and it was just kind of like, yeah.
Well,
chasing my tail.
I think I see a whole lot of I see a whole lot of research behind your poems, but there's a whole lot as like they say you've got the iceberg, and you've got we see the top of the iceberg, but all of that thought and feeling that you put into what's underneath. Yeah.
Thank you,
for your
Patricia.
comments.
Thank you. So if anybody else would like to share some poems, we'll have open mic now. Allegra is asked to go first. And Allegra, unmute yourself and take it away.
Hi, I'm so glad I could make it to this reading. Dan and Doreen, you took me on some great adventures through your poetry. It was just wonderful. And this first poem I'm going to read is called Imagination. And I imagine, I don't know about you, but when I go to wash my hands, as I do very frequently, I sing, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. And then, and then you sing, merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Then you do it again, and the last line is, now your hands are clean. And that gives you the amount of time you're supposed to be scrubbing your hands and getting them all clean. And so it was this that sort of brought me to this poem, which is called Imagination. I'm rowing my little boat into the land of a dream, integrated long ago in a song sung as a round, imprinted nonsense, an icon leading as I row inside, gently down the stream. Initiated with song, its words hold a certain truth, implying that all of those islands of everyday work, integral to our living, instead of something sober, is song. Life is but a dream. And I also for this poem use the form of a Pleiades, where I have to have 7 syllables in each line, and each line has to start with the same letter. And if there's time, I'd like to read another one. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. And this one, each Valentine's Day for the past, I don't know how many years. Thank you. I sent out a poem, and I was inspired to do this by Ted Kuzer. He came to Davis, I think it was in 2008, and you could sign up to get a Valentine poem from him. He probably sent out thousands that had all the students to help him, sent them out. And I got his very last Valentine poem. And so I thought the next year, I thought, well, I'm going to send out to a few people, and my list keeps growing as people hear about it. And so this is the poem I sent out this year for Happy Valentine's Day. There's grass to be cut, weeds to pull, but that can wait. The breath of a small dance I send to you, silent, like a shadow that comes, follows close by your side, circling round for only you to see. If you reach out your hand the way shadows can reach, the way green leaves hold the sky, I will hold it.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay. If people would like to provide some feedback, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Well, that is such a, I was thinking, it's so poetic, such poetry to find the poetry in this mundane, ordinary, everyday, frequent event, washing your hands.
That was very clever.
Well, Allegra, I wish that I could receive a Valentine like that.
Well,
Very
if you
nice.
send me, whoops, yeah, if you send me your name and address, next Valentine's Day, you'll get a Valentine postcard from me.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Well, I picture myself holding your hand, so that
That's
would be
okay.
nice.
Great.
Thank you, Allegra. Is anybody else like to share a poem today?
Okay.
I'll put my
Okay.
email in the chat.
Okay.
This is one I got a prize for in the recent contest. It's called COVID Quarantine. I'm stuck by COVID quarantine inside my yellow submarine, companioned by my TV screen. Excuse me. Or reading Wildlife magazine. Outside my window, hills are green and blooming orchids fill the scene. Restrictive rules are Byzantine. I'll sew a mask on my machine and try my hand at haute cuisine. For dinner, oysters Florentine.
That's great.
I love your sense of humor, Catherine.
Oh yeah, I got lots of them.
I thought was fun the unexpected rhymes too, like Florentine. Yeah, the ones that haute cuisine was that aren't mundane or normal everyday rhymes.
Well, it was inspired by a little discussion with that James Schumann gave about he wanted something about COVID quarantine, and he wanted it to rhyme all the way through. And I don't know if anybody else figured that one out. And we got saying, what are words that rhyme with it? Oh, Florentine, Byzantine, and a couple other things. So then I wrote that one.
Yellow
That's
submarine.
I've got another one, which was an honorable mention in the recent poem. It's a entirely different kind of thing because it's about somebody who was stuck had to escape from a wildfire down just a little north of Santa Cruz. It's called Last Chance Road. That's the real name of a real road. This is Ken Reed calling from the Asilomar Hotel. Firemen brought me here when Pine Mountain fire blocked the road. I'm glad to shower off the smoky smell. It's been 40 years since Bonnie helped me build our dream abode. I ran back to grab the message Bonnie wrote just before she died from cancer. She had suffered all last year. It's my only souvenir, her loving note. I looked back, running, saw the structure disappear, then plunged into the pond, my hair on fire. A pipe served as a snorkel when I took a breath, submerging as the flames shot even higher. Much later, surfaced at the edge of death. I heard 2 cords of wood burn, propane tanks explode. A solar light still shone and served as guide across the fallen trees towards Last Chance Road. A ghost-like figure stumbled to my side. My neighbor Pete waved through a wall of smoke. We walked 6 miles together, thanked our luck to have escaped unharmed till my shoes broke. And then we were rescued by the Cal Fire truck. For now, I'll couch surf till I can return and build anew the house that I saw burned.
Very powerful. Thank you, Catherine.
Well, you certainly captured the horrible.
Oh yeah, very dramatic.
of
Very
the
dramatic.
wildfire.
I took it out of a newspaper story. I changed the names, coupled the details, but I thought, boy, this really makes a poem. This is a really adventure.
Yes, that's
Amazing.
yes. And that is a great way that people get a lot of people get stories out of the newspaper.
Oh
For
yeah,
their-
you can get poems out of some of them. Some are actually written quite poetically.
Oh,
Okay, that's enough.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you, Cat.
that was heartrending. It just
Yeah.
as
yeah.
others were.
Oh yeah.
Does anybody else have a poem to share today?
I have one.
Okay, Patricia.
I've been I'm late. We locally we got a challenge to write a poem a day for 30 days. And I finally started. That was supposed to be around Christmas time.
Mhm.
And I'm working on 4 poems based on Roosevelt's 4 freedoms. And so this is one. It's called Freedom from Fear. Something cold grips my heart, metal like ice that packs heat. 8 souls blown to bits by boy man who, quote, had a bad day, unquote, wanted to blast his fetish-like obsession with Asian women is amygdala hijacked by twisted hate buried in his brain, sickness in society where some live with no path to cerebral cortex. This same breed marched in Charlottesville, brandished hate, chanted, "We will not be replaced." Is there not room for all of us? One, quote, very good person, unquote, whose festered reptilian brain took charge of his car, crushed through a crowd of peaceable protesters, slaying Heather Heyer. We must fight fear of this foe who menaces all. Community binds us, a collective of humans who know that race, religion, sexual orientation, country of origin matters not to creation. All life forms dwell in magnificent diversity. Hold hands, children of earth. Together we rise in the name of love against evil.
Yes. That was wonderful, Patricia. Thank you.
So let us hope, let us persevere. So good to express those things.
I wasn't sure if it was ready for prime time yet. Sometimes it's, it's nice to let them sit for a long time, but oh well.
And cool off.
I make my husband listen to them.
Well, I think he should be a good person for that.
Yeah, he's good.
Rick, I can put my hands on a poem,
Sure.
but I leave the computer to do it. It's in the other room.
Okay, that's fine.
If you have time and you want it.
Yes, that would be wonderful. And I'll mention, talk about the conference a little bit while you're getting the poem. So just a reminder that our online conference will be on in April 16th and 17th. It'll start about 4:30 in the afternoon, and there'll be lots of breaks. So we promise that it won't be overly fatiguing. We have great speakers and great workshops. Sue Daly will be doing a workshop on making your poetry pop, and Cleo also will be doing one on how to get published. I will be leading a business meeting and sort of doing the kickoff. And we have Barbara West and Grace Loescher are going to be doing a workshop on Friday evening on how to work or how to present in a more dynamic way. I don't have the exact title of that, but I've seen both of them perform before live, and they're exceptional. And they even intend to take some examples, because at the end of each day, we'll be having a Bardic Circle, which is our open mic, and they'll be encouraging people to send in some of their poems so that they can actually take that and work with that right there. So there'll actually be some improvisation. I think both days we're expecting them to be pretty awesome. So be sure to, you can go to the chaparralpoet.org website, and we have some links there. You can sign up online, or we've also sent out on using snail mail and email. So it's something you could, if you prefer to cut it off and send in a check. If you're a non-member, it's $10, and for members, it's only $5. So I think it will be an exceptional event. Hope to see you there. Okay, Norma, turn it over to you.
Okay. This is contemporary too, in a sense. And it's looking up in this shadowed time. A spill of darkness, another. Prayer seems to ricochet off disappointments, curtailment, disasters. At the window in the southern night sky, I see Madam Moon, waxing, growing rounder, always there in one of her luminous moods, sometimes playing with a cloud veil or shining behind it. In the early cycle, reclining as a crescent, lounging in the velvet void, always there in some manifestation. Tonight, I see it as my Creator's gift, shining with a luminous beauty that reminds me He is present in this part of His universe and here with me and everywhere, offering His light in dark places. So I have another one about sparrows with a moral. It has a lesson. And of course, birds and the out of doors constitute a lot of my material on my subject for poetry because that's our world has been. Okay, this is titled To Learn from Sparrows. In competition at the feeder with beating wings, challenging the other to yield its perch, frantic flutterings, sudden plummeting to the bush beneath, abrupt ascents, yet no animosity, it's all presence, a built-in way of behaving. From the sheltering pyracanthia, something sends them winging away together in a flash, beating wings close to one another, strangely synchronized. One feathery body fleeing to a common destination, a miracle of community. And there's a lot of thinking about community right now. At least I see a lot of it. Hasn't it been fun to share our own stuff?
Yes, it is.
I like the way you played with the moon image.
The way what?
You played with the moon image.
Oh,
By the way, we got a full moon tonight.
oh, really?
Yes, yes. It was last night also, but it's very nice. Very, if you get a clear sky.
I always look for the moon when I'm closing up for the night. I don't know why. It's an old friend, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
It's been there a lot longer than I have, and that's been a long time.
Well,
Thank you, Norma. So I wanted to also throw out the question about whether Sunday afternoon, does that still work for people?
Sunday, yes, yes. But Saturday's better, I think, for me.
Okay.
But it's also very busy. There's a lot of stuff happening on Saturday.
Yeah. I like the 3 o'clock. Am I muted? Just
No, you're fine. We can hear you.
okay. I like the 3 o'clock time. Some of the poetry groups meet at 2, and I spend the morning on a church Zoom, and I need to rest my eyes and brain a little while between church and doing something in the afternoon. And 2 o'clock I'm not ready yet. I don't know how children and teachers are doing these Zooms all day.
Well, I say I'm into that, Pat. For me personally, 3 o'clock is just a much more reasonable time. I don't know why, but I have time to prepare for it.
Good. Okay, we'll keep it at 3 o'clock on Sunday then for the time being.
We lost Cleo?
Yeah, I don't see her.
I wonder if she's having technical problems.
I had a couple. I had a stupid Google pop-ups advertising something, And then there was one time when Allegra's image froze. Fortunately, her voice, but I went back and was able to restore the screen.
Yeah, I got a message about that saying that she had low bandwidth. So I'm not sure if she's farther away from the Wi-Fi or what.
I found that that in general, that going through Chrome works better for me than going through Safari. And I don't have Chrome on this device yet, and so sometimes I have trouble. I don't know what it is, why Chrome works better on some of our devices.
So we've recorded this meeting, and we'll be creating a new page on the Chaparral website. So for those people, if there's a time in the future where you're not able to make one of the meetings, you'll be able to, if you're interested, you can go in and
Yeah.
review it from the
Oh,
website.
wonderful.
Yes.
That's great.
Great.
And I'll
I wanna-
also be pulling another name out of a hat. We had Carol Forrest was our first person in our membership gallery. So we're going to have every member at some point will be a sort of a featured poet, and I'll be calling you and asking to share with me several of your poems and any art that, if like for Carol, I actually did visual art that went along, accompanied her poems, and so we were able to put both on the website.
Oh,
And Norma here was agreed to read one of the poems.
Rick, do you have a poem for us?
No, not today, but not prepared today, but I will next time.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is
thank
wonderful.
you, Linda. Yeah, thank you, Linda. I mean, Doreen and Dan, that was just, you're both just wonderfully unique and yeah, really.
Whole new perspective on different things.
Yes, a different way of
worlds
seeing.
and different parts of universe and all of that.
Right,
New
right.
horizons for us.
Yes. Very,
We need
very
to pitch
fresh.
in. We need to
fresh
pitch in
stuff.
and get you another camera, though, Dan.
Yeah, for sure.
You're a little fuzzy.
Yeah.
Some of us wish we were more fuzzy.
I
I
love
like warm fuzzies myself.
Well, thank you guys for being here. Very nice. Very nice. I've enjoyed all the poetry here today.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, well, I'll be signing off then, and
Okay, thank you.
I'll see you.
Thank you, Rick.
Hopefully, okay, and I'll
Thank you.
hope to see you at the conference, and then next month on April 25th, 3 o'clock.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.